Okay, children, continuing with the extra sums. Right now, we will first look at the sums in which solving is there. Okay. Question number 10. Express HCF of 468 and 222 as 468x plus 222y. So basically, first you will find HCF of 468 and 222. Okay. And that HCF is equal to this you will write. Suppose that HCF is 10. In actuality, you will not get 10, but suppose you get 10. Now, you have to choose the value of x and y such that you get, when you substitute here, LHS should be equal to RHS. So, what we have to do is very simple. Say, put x equal to 0. If I put x equal to 0 in this equation, then I get, yes, first time will be 0 and you will get y is equal to this. Now our sum is finished. If you see, if you in this equation, if you put x equal to 0 and y equal to 10 upon 222, 222 will get cut, 10 will remain here, and here anything multiplied by 0 is 0, so 10 equal to 10. You could have done this some opposite way also, or second method, if you put y equal to 0. If you put y equal to 0, then you will get x equal to 10 upon 468. Again, if you want to check your answer, if you put these two values here, instead of y if you put 0, and instead of x 10 upon 468, you will get 10 equal to 10. Okay. So this is question number 10. Now we are looking at question number 15 first. Use Euclid's division algorithm to find HCF of 441, 567 and 693. In this sum, you first find the HCF of 441 and 567. Okay. Suppose it is 10. Then you find HCF of 10 and 693 also. Okay. Again, you will not get it as 10. I am just writing it like that. So first find the HCF of these two numbers, and then whatever HCF you get, you work with 693. Question number 16. Using Euclid's division algorithm, find the largest number that divides 1251, 9377, 15628, leaving remainders 1, 2 and 3 respectively. So first step you have to do, with 1251 you subtract 1, with 9377 you subtract 2, with 15628 you subtract 3. Now you will get these as remainders 1250, 9375 and 15625. Now you have to find the largest number which divides all three. So basically you have to find HCF. First you can find HCF of 1250 and 9375, and then whatever HCF you get, you find HCF with this also, 15625. This was question number 16. Now we will look at question number 20. Question number 20 is, there are 312, 260 and 156 students in class 9th, 10th and 12th respectively. Buses are hired to take these students for a picnic. Find the maximum number of students which can sit in a bus if each bus takes equal number of students. Find also the number of buses required. Now, first of all, for these three values, you have to find the HCF. Okay, that HCF will give you the number of maximum students which can sit in a bus. Now, sometimes many children ask me, sir, how in these statement sums we get confused, how to find HCF or LCM. So you have to use a logic. For example, suppose you were confused what to find HCF or LCM. Suppose if you find the LCM. Now the LCM value which you will get, you will realize it is so big that it is even greater than the number of students. Okay, so then you would realize, no, we can't do this by finding LCM, we have to find HCF. Suppose the HCF comes 10. Suppose the HCF comes 10. Again, this is an imaginary value, you will not get it as 10. But suppose you get the HCF as 10. Then last step is you have to find the number of buses. So the total number of students which you can just add it up and upon the HCF whatever you get. Okay. This was question number 20. So 10, 15, 16, 20 we have discussed first. Now we will discuss a couple of theoretical questions. First of all, question number 11. Question number 11 is, prove that any one of the three consecutive positive integers must be divisible by 3. So first step here, as we had discussed earlier, now it is written divisible by 3. So first, that by Euclid's division lemma, let A be any positive integer and B equal to 3 you have to write. B equal to 3. And then you can write these three values because remainder will be 0, 1 and 2. So A is equal to 3q, A is equal to 3q plus 1, A is equal to 3q plus 2. Now let the three consecutive positive integers be n plus 1 and n plus 2. Basically, if I write also like 7, 8, 9 are three consecutive positive integers. 10, 11, 12 are three consecutive positive integers. Anyway, so let the three consecutive positive integers be n plus 1 and n plus 2. Now one by one you have to do, we will take the first case when we will take A is equal to 3q. And one by one we will substitute in this. In n, if you put A is equal to 3q, you will get 3q. If in n plus 1 you put A is equal to 3q, you get 3q plus 1. If n plus 2 you put A is equal to 3q, you get 3q plus 2. Now out of these three, if you see, only equation 1 is divisible by 3. Okay, so you will write only equation 1 is divisible by 3. And one more case I will do, then last case you will do on case 2. Now you will put 3q plus 1 in all these one by one. And if I put 3q plus 1, I will get 3q plus 1 only. Now in n plus 1 if I put 3q plus 1, I get 3q plus 2. Now I will put in n plus 2. Here you write case 2 and now we are taking A is equal to 3q plus 1. So that way it will be easier for you. So 3q plus 1 and now n plus 2. So plus 2. So you get 3q plus 3. Now obviously if you see out of first, second and third, this will be only this one will be divisible by 3 because you can take 3 common and it will be divisible by 3. Similarly for case 3, now you will substitute A is equal to 3q plus 2. You will have to substitute 3q plus 2. Once in here, once in here and once in here, and again you will see out of these three, only one will be divisible by 3. So this is question number 11. Okay. Here always remember that whatever is the number is being divided by, that gives you a hint on how to start the sum. Okay. Now we will look at question number 12. Question number 12 says, show that 12 raised to n cannot end with the digit 0 or 5 for any natural number n. This sum is exactly as the textbook. The only step you have to do first is you just have to make the factor of 12. Okay. These are the factors of 12 and then you just have to write everything that, as you can see, if it has to end with 0 then it must have 5, but it does not have 5 in its factorization. So this is question number 12. Now we will have a look at question number 13. Show that square of any positive integer is of the form a10 plus 1 for some whole number m. Now here the term is a10 plus 1. So normally when we do this sum, let a be any positive integer and then b equal to 8, and if we take b equal to 8, then we will get remainder 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the sum will be very long. So as we had done for question number 5 of exercise 1.1 where 9m was required and we had taken 3, here we will take 4, b equal to 4. So let a be any positive integer and b equal to 4. Therefore by Euclid's division lemma we get 4q plus 1, 4q plus 2 and 4q plus 3. Here this 4q plus 1 and 4q plus 3 is obviously not divisible by 2. Therefore they are odd. Now we will do the next step, which is we have to show that square of odd positive integer is of the form a10 plus 1. Now I will do for this. So we will do the square of this. 16q square plus 8q plus 1. Now I have to see whether I can represent it in the form a10 plus 1. Okay, now we just have to take common. We will take 8 common. So 8q square plus q plus 1 for 8m plus 1, where m is equal to 2p square plus q. Okay. And similarly now you will have to do for 4q plus 3 also. And when you are doing for 4q plus 3, it will not be as straightforward as this. One slight manipulation you will have to do once you square it. And then you have to represent it in the form 8m plus 1. These sums, you will be finding them slightly difficult. But the reason we are doing them, these sums are many times, they will be given to you as assignments in your school. And they may also be asked when you are having your monthly or weekly tests. And of course, the best advantage of doing these kind of sums is later on when you are doing the textbook, you will find those sums to be very easy once you just get used to these slightly tough sums. Okay, cheers.